Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown here with Ryan Graham.
Hey, y'all.
Tim Thurber.
Hello.
And this is State of Atlanta. Welcome back, guys. We are joined by the Black and Gold podcast, guys, Alex and Charles. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, David. Thank you very much.
Happy to be here. Appreciate
Did y'all crack one too? Do we just leave y'all out?
I've already got two. We always pre-crack around the mountains.
You got to practice, right?
Nice. Well, it's getting cold up there. It's cold down here. It's getting actually very cold up there, right? So you got to warm up somehow.
Well, it just depends on what you call very cold.
Well, we had
30 is cold.
I know what we're going up to tomorrow night is going to be very cold or going to be cold. But oddly enough, the temperature did like a 30-degree drop here in Atlanta overnight. Like we were still in our 80s and 70s. I got up this morning to take my kid to school, and it was in the 30s. And I'm like, what the hell happened? I guess they're trying to get me ready for Boone a little bit. But yeah, it was yes, my kid said it's wintertime. I'm like, no, it's not wintertime. It's football season. It's not winter yet. Calm down, kid. But yeah, so talk to you guys on Thursday on y'all's show. Really appreciate that. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. Probably the most fun I had on my Florida vacation was talking to you guys about Georgia State football and Appy State.
Wow.
There. But yeah, so what are we headed into in Boone? So Tim and I are going to head up for the game. What should we expect when we get up there into the mountain?
Well,
I mean, go ahead.
AJ likes weather, but I love weather. I'm that kind of nerd. And not only am I like podcasting, but I like talking about weather. So that really takes it up a notch. Tomorrow it's going to be sunny, high of 43. But that's at like 4:00.
Right.
By game time, we're talking 36, 37, somewhere in there. I don't believe it'll be too windy. You got that going for you, but it'll still be chilly.
You know what? To me, it can be 0 degrees outside. If there's no wind, I don't care. It's the wind that I'm just like, nope, screw this.
You sound like a true mountaineer. Yeah, that's all we always say. It's not cold unless the wind blows.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim and I were talking before we came on here with another buddy of mine who's going with us up there to Boone, and we're talking about I guess somebody tweeted out, one of the app accounts tweeted out that there was some flurry in Boone today, and we're like, man, we're not prepared for snow. And I was like, I'm not prepared for snow, but I will take snow night and day if it does not come along with any wind. That's the killer. So
as long as it doesn't come with 3 ice kicks that turns into a touchdown instead. I mean, that's really my fear.
when you're already down by
that is an unreasonable fear, except for
Coach Miles no longer in the program. Good.
That's exactly correct. I mean, we played an unfortunate Halloween night game against TDS, as I guess you guys.
Good. I like it.
To those folks, we call them the stink. So we played them in the wind whipping, the sleet, and everything else. It was awful. It was everything about that night was terrible. Even pregame, so the wind factor. I know we sound just like a bunch of middle-aged guys now here talking about weather, which is exactly what I guess this is. But as long as you guys don't have that, you won't see as full of the tailgate lots won't be as full, as you would see on a Saturday game, of course. That's just, we've kind of adjusted to the midweek games that way. It's always tougher to have that, especially when the school doesn't let you park till 4. It's just a huge buzzkill. But there'll still be people there. It's still going to be the rowdies will always show up at an app game. You're always going to get the rowdies, and that's that's part of what makes Kid Brewer special.
Yeah, that was actually going to be one of my questions I had for you is what are we looking at as far as the tailgate environment and even just the crowd inside the stadium on a Wednesday night game versus Saturday? I assume it's still going to be a pretty packed house inside the stadium, but without being able to tailgate for a good 8 hours, it may not be as liquored up and as rowdy as they could be.
Yeah,
that's fair to say.
Yeah,
you just won't have your elaborate setups. It's not like you can get out there at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning and take some meat from raw to smoked and looking good and all that good stuff. But But I mean, if any mountaineer knows anything, it's how to get warm quick. And I got a feeling there'll be some people getting a little loose about lunchtime at some point somewhere all over town, and that's kind of how it goes. So
yeah, I think we're rolling in right around 3 or 4 o'clock and check into our hotel. And I think we're going to hit up that Boonshine Brewery that you recommended, Charles, and get a couple of drinks in, then to kind of make our way maybe through the little tailgate area, see if we can find you guys and just check out the lay of the land up in Boone. So
you just got to remember, you can't go around saying "Go State" because, well, like we're all state.
I say if you walk around saying "Go State," people won't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're like, "What's who?"
Excellent.
They went to the wrong place.
Oh, okay. You gotta say "Appy," and then they get it.
No, then they're just going to dislike you even more. It's like, oh, this guy's talking about NC State, and he's wearing blue.
We get drunk and we get belligerent. You know, I mean, it's all in good fun.
It's all in good fun. It's all good fun. Yeah. So I guess we'll talk about the game a little bit. I guess that's kind of the point of this whole thing. I do not like that we're playing you guys coming off a loss to Texas State. I felt really good about this game. Preseason, I was like, I just had a feeling this was going to be the year that we would actually finally get over that hurdle of playing App State. And that's why I got the tickets and made the plan for this trip. Got it cleared with the wife and everything. I felt good about it. Then a week and a half ago, when I saw that score against Texas State, I was like, oh, crap, man. They're going to be I mean, they want to rectify the situation. What happened? What do you guys think happened between beating Texas A&M, ranked number 6, and then what happened against Texas State? Like, what changed? What changed?
How long does this stream last?
Yeah, I got 30 at best, maybe just 20, and it's not enough time.
So
I've got 12 beer in this cooler and a full glass of vodka, so I can go as long as you guys can.
All right, we'll let you take a break to get some more when the time comes. But we had a really great segment with Thomas Hennigan, which is a name that you guys are familiar with from the last 5 years. And he's the first athlete we cut an NIL deal with last year. It's a great guy. He is with the Vikings right now. He's on their practice squad, rehabbing the separated shoulder, doing better. And then a former safety, actually from Gwinnett, so down there in Atlanta, to kind of talk about this, because their former players are championship players that have won championships, have been on the field, and big time contributors. And they're, former players are concerned, because the same question you just asked, between number 6 A&M and losing to Texas State, that just doesn't seem right. And I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of reasons for this, but I think, man, there's something about the intensity and the execution of the plays. And I didn't agree with everything Thomas said, and he certainly didn't agree with everything I said about like the causes and whatever. And I think there's a lot of legitimacy about locker room culture after you have this enormous production, not just of on-field numbers and stuff, but leadership. When they leave and they're replaced with people that maybe don't have as strong a work ethic or whatever you want to say, you get too much of that in a locker room, and people aren't playing with as much intensity or maybe with as much accountability on the field. There's a lot of things that I think only players can control. I think the coaches are coaching their butts off, but I think at the end of the day, the players are the ones that have to say, how are we going to approach this? Are we going to attack them like we're playing number 6 team in the country, or are we not? Pair that with, we've lost one of our best outside linebackers, probably our best outside linebacker for the year, Brendan Harrington. That's a huge blow. Trey Cobb, our best inside linebacker, he's playing hurt. He's got a bad shoulder. That's not been good for us. So we've been dinged up, but a lot of people are dinged up. But for me, I think it's a player and execution issue where the players have to decide, how do we want to be? And I think that starts in the offensive line. If you watch side by side the performance of the offensive line, same players, by the way, same players on there. It's not like our star left tackle got injured. Same players. The level of intensity that you can see the difference between A&M and Texas State, I think it's a lot different. And so will the players take care of that? That's the question. That's why I'm so excited about tomorrow. That's why a lot of App fans are so excited about tomorrow, because we want to find out how are the players going to respond. Because I really do think at its core, that's what the answer is going to be, regardless of whether or not we're as talented as we have been on defense, which I don't think we are. That shouldn't matter. How much intensity we're going to come with. And that's the big question. I think we'll respond, but we still got to see. That's why we play the game.
All right, Charles, how is Alex wrong?
Yeah, okay, basically that's what I'm going to say. So AJ has been more of the one over the last month who is leaning toward like the defensive side of the ball, and I think that's certainly fair. They have had their deficiencies and have had their moments where they've not been as good as we'd expect them to be, or what we would consider up to the standard of Appalachian State, right? My issue has been more on the offensive side of the ball. We just can't put a full game together. We have not played one full game against an FBS team where we didn't go with like massive droughts of not scoring. James Madison, we didn't score in the second half at home. Inexcusable. At home against North Carolina, we didn't score in the second or third quarter. That happened. Inexcusable. The 40-point fourth quarter didn't happen if we weren't down by 20 going into it. We can't do that. We need the Hail Mary to beat Troy. Come on. Our offense has not been consistent enough, and we know they've got the players. And where that started and where it stopped, unfortunately, we got to point at the place that we've taken so much pride in over the years is our offensive line being able to run the ball. In our last two FBS teams, we haven't got 75 freaking yards rushing that we played, and that is inexcusable. That is not the standard of App State football. So for me, it's more offense. Offense helps defense. Defense helps offense. But at App State, our defense plays so much better when they've got a touchdown or a couple touchdown lead, and our offense can do exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
Between the two of y'all, I like our chances.
Yeah, so I was about to say, I was like, from what I'm hearing, defense sucks, offense sucks. We should be feeling pretty good about ourselves going into tomorrow night,
right? and honestly, like our boys should play up, because our record against y'all is we got a goose egg. So it should mean more to our guys, and they should play up to y'all like y'all played up to Texas A&M. So hopefully that's what happens. On our side.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely a factor. I think a lot of times sports fans in general, regardless of fan base, or really even whether it's college or professional sports, sometimes we forget, hey, the other team wants to win too, and they're motivated to do that as well. There are 5th and 6th year seniors, thanks to COVID, on Georgia State who have experienced nothing but playing App State and getting L's handed to them, and this is their chance to do it. They're foaming at the mouth. Sean Elliott, we talked a little bit about this, David, when you were on our show. There's no question Sean Elliott is just licking his chops to want to get a dub against his alma mater, where he fought and bled as a player and as a coach. Of course. But I like your chances. I understand that aspect as well, but I think there's that coin flip of, like I said, I don't think it's not a talent issue. Like Charles said, like we're too good on the offensive side of the ball. I totally agree with Charles said on there. Inexcusable to not score in the second half. I think why I always bring up defense is because I think that on our defensive side right now, I don't think we have the horses that we used to. On the offensive side, it's just, to me, it's like we do. There's really no excuse. Like that needs to be rectified, because we have the personnel to do that, especially with an offensive line. We all know how important an offensive line is to get it done. Will they get it done? Will they explode off the ball and play as a unit? We've seen at their best what happens when they do that. You beat the number 16 in the country handedly. Will they do it tomorrow? I hope so. They can do it. And I'm expecting it, because I'm a very biased, neutral observer.
Of course you are. If you were going into the locker room of Georgia State and you were going to give them the keys to victory, what are the areas of App State that you think that could be exploited? Like, we've got a great rushing game. Our quarterback is starting to come into his own with the passing, getting a little more accurate there, making some more completions. But what would you tell the guys? Like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is our game plan for beating App State.
There's disagreement on some of those premises, but continue.
What are you talking about? No, what are you talking about? We have a great rushing game. Tucker Gregg, Jamias Williams, they're
We're
killing
10th
it.
in the nation, David.
Ranger can't pass the damn ball.
Oh yeah, exactly. What are our stats, Tim? Tim's our resident stat.
10th in the nation in
stats.
rushing. Yeah, 10th in the nation in
He can
rushing.
run it. He's not
First
a
in the
dual
Sun
threat
Belt.
by any means. He can run the ball. He cannot throw it. I don't know why.
Come on, Dare. Yeah, Ryan's not high on Granger as a passing quarterback, and I get it. I just said he's getting there. He's getting there. He's getting
not.
there.
You're wrong.
He's not getting there. I mean,
He's
I
gonna
watched
light
that.
y'all up with his feet. That's what he's gonna do.
I watched that TSD game, and I mean, it was a sunny game. It was a sunny day in Atlanta, right? I would imagine it wasn't. Yeah, I would imagine it wasn't like chilly. And he was just throwing balls at dudes' feet.
He's good at that.
On out, like, and so like that's for me. That's the thing. I think that Granger, when he has that route over the middle, that is the field's wide open, and it's the only guy. He just has to put it in his hands. I think those are the passes he can hit. But when he has to go to the outside, when he has to go to the outside,
but that's better. That's better than it was before. At least he's getting it closer to him now. It's not going sailing over their head into out of bounds. He's actually getting it closer to their physical body.
Is this
so he's coming into his own.
You get
yes.
You get credit for throwing at the feet.
You got to get it in the box there, man. You know, sand is just apparently good enough. But no, seriously, like where App's been burned is that these teams will take these like quick outside, like 5-7 yard hitches, outs, whatever. Lots of teams burned us. Texas State did it on it. Carolina did it. Troy to an extent. And that's where we've gotten hit. And that's where I see like where y'all might struggle a little bit is because he is not accurate there. And that ball is going to be 35 degrees, you know?
Yeah.
And that ball is going to be hard and you're not going to be able to grip it like you used to. And, 202 yards a game. I mean, sure, that's fine and dandy with what y'all do. Like that's y'all's balance. But if I'm taking over unders on that, I'm just coming way under on that passing game. You know, I just don't see 150 yards coming from y'all in the air on Wednesday night.
So it's going to be a ground game for us. It's got to be for us to have a chance.
We know
to be a ground game.
If App State knows that he can't throw, that's a problem.
Well, they better know that.
Yeah, I mean,
we know that. I don't know shit about football, and I know that.
If they're not paying attention, that's their problem.
Ryan, I was trying to get them to expose their team, not you expose our team.
We're not exposing anybody here. Come on.
Hey,
now, AJ, you mentioned
now Granger can't pass. Oh well.
No, I was to say, AJ, you mentioned a couple key injuries on your defense. Do you think we have this problem at Georgia State where we just walk into a game thinking we're going to win, like Charlotte per se? Do you think at App, do you guys have this problem where maybe App walked into Texas State and said, "Yeah, we're here, we're going to win. We don't need to really try that hard"?
I think it would be foolish to say that attitude didn't exist somewhere on the team. I also. I always try to say, hey, I'm not here to paint with a broad brush, because I know some of the dudes on that team don't approach it like that. Like I use, for example, I mean, Chase Bryce is out there getting absolutely hammered, at not getting time, but still making the throw, staying in there, getting crushed. Henry Pearson, our tight end on that pick 6 against Texas State, ran the entire length of the field, knowing he wasn't going to catch the guy, but still put on the burners and gave his all. So when I say that, to your question, yes, I don't want to throw guys that maybe don't operate that way, but to say that didn't exist and that doesn't really make them some incredibly selfish teammate. Oh, you're so arrogant. But sometimes I think that creeps in a little bit, and I think that when you're not as deep as you're used to being on the roster, with as many superstars as you're used to on the roster, you get away with that. And on our post-game show and our preview show this last week, we referenced a couple games in history where, hey, we kind of played down. We referenced the South Alabama game where we just played down to South Alabama, but we were so much better than them that it was never a close game, but we played very poorly. Well, here we go. You can't always do that. You can't always do that. So do I think that, like I said, and I'm trying to be careful because I'm not trying to say that, yes, the team did that. They didn't take it seriously. But I think if you watched the game, I think it's pretty obvious, body language and everything else, who wanted that game more. and it was Texas State, and they smelled blood in the water and they got it. Which, you know, if you're a young, you know, athlete, learning how to play the game of football and realizing, hey, season's halfway done, are we going to turn this on or what? That's what I'd be worried about if I was the coaching staff at Georgia State. Is are these guys going to wake up on Wednesday morning, just be pissed off and say, I'm done. Whatever attitude I had at Texas State, that's over. You know, I'm putting that in the rearview mirror. That's not happening again. I think that's probably likely. I think because David, I think it's maybe you said this on the show when you were on, but App State was between the Hail Mary, the crazy game against UNC, and then Texas A&M. Arguably, you could say we're the most talked about program in September. So how does that not like make you think, woo, man, App State's pretty awesome. So how do we stay grounded? Because part of what I think built our success in the Sun Belt early on was we weren't getting a ton of respect. You know, we weren't getting a ton of respect. So we had to build that up. I mean, ever since we got there, Charles, we haven't talked about this in a long time, but it was kind of a running thing with App fans is that the press and ESPN and all these writers, they always wanted Louisiana to be the toast of the Sun Belt. Always. Thought about, oh, Louisiana and Louisiana. We're like, hey, what are we doing here except, you know, winning all these games?
Around here, we call them Lafayette.
Yeah, and we call them La La. So I mean,
La
La. Ooh la la is cool.
Yeah,
we used to call them 0-8. We can't do that anymore. I wish we could. That'd been that was
you know what?
We took on that title.
A little bit of a low blow.
We got
a little bit of a low blow.
We're handling big.
A little sensitive to that. All right.
Yeah. That's a good question, Tim. That's very
well. It's the
relevant.
definition of a trap game, right? You're riding high on a big win, feeling good about yourself. You're going into a game that you expect that was always written in pen as a W at the beginning of the season, and then you just don't perform up to your ability, and you don't know how to fix it up. So yeah.
Dave,
So selfish.
Are you referring to Texas State as a trap game?
Yes.
No. That's we played Citadel before that. You know, we had a layup.
Okay.
That was not a trap game at all. It was a road game. That was it.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I agree with that.
For whatever reason, we just were not awake in the first quarter, and basically the first half. You take away a pick.
Too much time hanging out in the river out there. You know,
nice. You know, a river's a little too warm for us. We prefer those waters to be about 55 degrees down the New River. You know, just enough to make you forget.
You enjoy it. You enjoy a little strange. You know,
we get that. You know, we start tubing as soon as the sun comes out in April. Man, it doesn't matter if the river's warmed up or not. We get out there and get into it. We don't need it to be 85 degrees.
I need photographic evidence of Charles doing that in April.
And the water was too cold for me to get in. And the pool water was too cold for me to get in last week. So
I was gonna say, Charles, I'm gonna call bullshit on it. I need photographic evidence as well.
Bring it. Let's go, man. I've been in the Nantahala River in May. I mean, that water comes from the bottom of a dam, and it is literally 57 degrees. And
no, thank you.
It is
no thanks.
Yeah, Ryan has a history of asking men for pictures of them in swimsuits, so that's not.
I mean, I went naked. I didn't need any clothes.
Oh, there you go. Even better.
Even better.
You turn Ryan's video off now.
Oh yeah.
No, but
wow.
Hey, I agree with what Charles said. That wasn't a trap game. That wasn't a trap game. That was the game that fans and players were talking about. And I can obviously speak more for the fans part. That was the game. Like, hey, let's get back on track. We lost to James Madison. Okay, we played Citadel. There's nothing you could tell from Citadel. That's a confidence boost because all right, we scored a bunch of points. That feels good, but there's nothing else you can really take from that. That was the game.
I want to give you some respect, AJ, for what you just said. You went on record saying that was not a track game. That was you did not play to your potential, and you let yourself get beat. When we talk to these, you look at Georgia State beating and owning the record against the Trash Town South. You know, they'll never own up to a loss. There's always some weird.
They don't know how to do that.
No, they
have
can
more
never say
points,
we got beat. We got beat. They can never say that. They've got to find, well, the coach was checked out or the players were checked out, or that's the big one they have with us. That's your Super Bowl. I'm like, all right, well, we're Tom Brady then. We got 6 rings.
All right, we've won 6 Super Bowls, right? I mean, okay. That's the dumbest. Every time, I don't even want to speak his name. Every time that dude on Twitter gets on there and talks trash, and I love talking trash about Georgia State. I love it. Like it's great. But I'm like, you have no room. That's your number one sport. That's your number one sport, and you are trashing this program with things that, like, I think are kind of funny. But you can't say that because they own you. They rock, like what the Naylor guy for the Guardians last night, rocking Garrett Cole to sleep. That's Georgia State and Georgia Southern, rocking them to sleep.
Yeah, but AJ, they have scored more points than we have, even though we have 6 wins. So
I forgot. It's a
transitively, they're better than us.
Yeah, they also refer to the 6 Flags, which none came when you were even a program. You know, like that's what, you know, that they're still talking about national championships won an FCS. Like anytime, you know, that they have issues with something, they go back to the past.
Yeah, I mean, we got that amusement park right out on 20, you know? we got Six Flags just right outside.
And you're like, how about you get more than one in FBS, you know? And that's all they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I you know, all due respect, I mean, to App State as well, you know, huge successes in the FCS realm, but once you make that leap into FBS, none of it matters. It doesn't matter. That was a great history. You have a great history, but none of that matters anymore. You are where you are now, and that's all you can be. And you know, some teams embrace that, and I think the App State has embraced that. Like, all right, cool. We're not going to worry about what we did in the past. Let's see what we can do now. And you've done successful. I mean, you basically wrote the book on how to transition from FCS to FBS. So
there's a huge difference between honoring accomplishments that are meaningful and like putting that flag in the ground today about it. And that's the thing that I see from those people, right? Is just it's constantly bringing it up in the context of why we're relevant today or what's important today, because I'll be the first in line to say that I'm proud of those national championships and I love them, and there's nothing like winning in the playoffs. I mean, it's the best feeling in the world. But to use that in some sort of like discussion about Georgia State, I mean, it has no place. It has no place.
Yeah, there's one thing. I mean, I feel like I'm fluffing you a little bit here, but like one thing that I never hear an App State fan talk about is, you know, you hear ESPN anytime the App State gets mentioned on ESPN or any kind of national sports news, they always bring up that Michigan game. You never hear an App State fan mention that. Like, you know, the media will bring it up. They'll talk about how big of that game, that Michigan game was. But on an everyday conversation with anybody I've talked to about App State, you know, that's not used as a point of reference for how good of a program it is. That's just it's in the past. What have you done lately? And you've done lately. So
yeah, we're all about the next one. I mentioned this, AJ. I don't know when it was, Miami, Tennessee, like 16, 17, when we were talking about that kind of stuff, and we're like, we want our next Michigan. Like, we want that because that's what validates you going forward. You know, going back to Georgia Southern. I mean, that's great. They had their 6 titles, but what have you done for me lately since 2014? Like, they haven't connected the dots well, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I believe that App State has certainly connected the dots. You know, I think that's made sense.
This
throw
is
Boise
actually
in there, throw Marshall in there as far as transitions are concerned. We can have arguments about that all day long, but you know, we've always been looking for that next one. We've had a lot of very close calls against a lot of schools that we shouldn't be competing with.
Yes.
And we finally got back over the hump September 10th. And, you know, we did our thing again. And there will be pictures that you will see for all time. Cam Peoples run down the sideline. Cooper Hodges standing on top of their stands with his belly hanging out and everything, you know, and those things. And those things are things that you cannot take away. As much as like we'd rather have not beaten Troy on a Hail Mary, but God Almighty, game day was there and it happened, and they still put us on ESPN Plus.
And what a
Come
play.
on, guys!
And what a play, man! That was a sick play. It was just
Stuff
crazy.
He was there
for the rest of our
put
lives.
y'all on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
It's because all that stuff was set. You know, the first 4 weeks are usually set So they didn't expect anything to come of that because Troy's been, 5-7 for the last 3 years?
Sure. Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I thought y'all were on
we had-
ESPN proper.
We had
No.
we had a game day at our place 2 years ago. I mean, wasn't for our game. It was at our stadium.
It was in our parking lot, but it wasn't for us.
It was our parking lot. I went down to it wearing my Georgia State shirt, but it was for the HBCU Classic or Corky Classic, whatever it was.
That's really
MEAC,
funny.
SWAC or something.
That's hilarious.
That's right. And but
yeah, so
you
back
know,
to the game a little bit.
Yeah.
Go. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say what's been an interesting turn this year is you mentioned, the media always bringing up Michigan. This is the first year that I have felt that the talk of the underdog and the giant killer stuff has held up a little bit. And I don't know why that is. I guess if you see enough, like last year should have beat Miami at Miami. Should have beat them. We were a bad snap away from doing that. That's the first time we ever, with my two eyes, ever seen us really push around a P5 defense like that and just move the ball. I think we had some 400 some yards offense. So we really controlled the game that way. Just had a ball didn't bounce our way a few ways. But this year's been the first time that I've noticed that there's not as much of that. Oh, look at App State and after that Michigan. I mean, of course that still exists. Of course you're going to see the comparisons with A&M and Michigan. But I think that September I saw less and less of that than I think you would have if this same thing had happened a few years ago, which is interesting. Right. Which is if you play well enough and beat Carolina, beat South Carolina on the road, and all this stuff, you win enough games. Eventually, you have to say, "Oh, they've done more things," and that's been right. Interesting to watch this year. Actually, now you bring that up.
Do you guys have any concerns about? Go ahead.
Sorry,
Charles,
Quick. We've never had that back-to-back opportunity like that. To play in the 2 Power Fives in a row. I mean, y'all did, and y'all know how tough that is. And I'm sure your team was beat up from that. And you felt like you let a couple get away, or at least one get away.
Yep.
We certainly felt like we got one to get away. After we get done with Texas A&M, we're just like, God Almighty, could we have beaten Carolina?
Yep.
Right.
What would it look like now?
Like, how did you not beat them? How did you not do it? Yeah, that's the question you ask. So we had our next Tennessee was Auburn last year. We thought we had that one in the bag, and then you got to beat the Zebras too. But there was this actually kind of leads into the question I was going to ask a second ago. Was I was checking like the social media and everything during that Auburn game, and one of the things I saw was someone say that Georgia State is 6 minutes away from getting blacklisted by all SEC schools, and so my question to you guys is: at any point do App State fans or the administration feel like there's gonna be a struggle to get these games back on the schedule again? I haven't looked at y'all's future conference or out of conference schedule at all, but is it difficult to get these games? Or I mean, it seems like
not
yet. Well, it's difficult to an extent.
No. Go ahead, Charles.
I mean, we got the games on the schedule that we want, right? Like we want local, regional, travelable games. I mean, Texas A&M, we couldn't send 6,000 people to Texas A&M. But we can send 6,000 people to Clemson and Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Or Greenville, North Carolina, Columbia. If we'll ever play the Gamecocks again, they'll just keep backing that sucker up. We'll make money on that one forever. That's like the best annuity ever is like scheduling a game with South Carolina if they don't want to play you.
It's like your Bobby Bonita contract.
Just keep bringing those dividends in, right, AJ? I mean, you're the financial guy.
That's right. Love it.
But I mean, we're getting those games. NC State's up there. UNC Charlotte has appeal. As much as it's a great local game. Y'all don't get the same thing with them because there's no y'all are so similar, But they hate us. Like UNC Charlotte hates our guts. They think they're better than us, and we're just still laughing at them. But we're gonna get those games with East Carolina
we don't like
and all
talking
those
about
teams.
UNC Charlotte this week or this season. We won't talk about Charlotte this season.
Shame on you guys for losing that game. Shame on you.
Oh man,
for losing to those
nerds. A shanked point after. A shanked point after is what cost us the game. I mean, we should never let them score that many points.
Correct.
We should have never let. We should never let them score that many points.
So AJ, our
huge
P5, AJ is what? Clemson. That's in the
Clemson and South Carolina are on the slate right now. In terms of SEC power, ACC, whatever.
But we're not calling that. We're not calling South Carolina huge P5.
They're not. No,
or not. North Carolina's not a huge P5.
No.
They're like a mid P5, I'd say.
It's an in-state game. The in-state part means more to us than the fact that they're in the ACC.
Yeah, but they're not like
flagship.
Vandy, Purdue. They're not.
Yes.
They're not
Yeah,
on that
but
level.
But
that's
it's not like
correct.
huge. It's not like elite. Texas A&M is like elite recruiting and all that. We're not playing Alabama. Auburn won't pick up the phone. Stuff like that. Georgia has in the past. We played them a few times in the last 15 years.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I think that I think to kind of piggyback, originally I said, well, yes and no. I think that there are some schools that shouldn't play us, right? That it doesn't make sense for them to play us. And there are some schools like Georgia, the Georgias, and it's so easy to say that, right? Georgias and the Clemsons and Alabamas, like, the risk of them losing to us probably isn't great. They probably don't love seeing us beat, Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M has their own, unique troubles, especially with that game. But then there are some P5s actually that it kind of does make sense from a fan engagement, season ticket standpoint, and actually it doesn't hurt as far as a quality win is concerned. NC State, we just signed a deal with NC State to do a, Charles, was it a home and home or home and home, or
it's just a rumored home and home. Neither athletic department has actually announced it yet. It's
okay.
just
Okay,
FYI.
I'm sorry.
I think it's still being worked on.
Not official. Not official.
Are we breaking news here?
Ooh.
Are we breaking news?
David has it.
I think we are.
That's great.
App State, NC State.
That's great. I love that. I want to use that. I'm gonna abuse that feature. I didn't even know that existed.
Please do not use that feature.
Okay. No promises. I'm gonna keep moving on. So Charles will hopefully.
I'll send you the video clip.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. No. So
we all make each other better.
That's right. That's right. Iron sharpens iron.
Together we rise.
Together we rise. I love it.
Mark is red.
No, but I think it makes sense for a team like NC State to do business with us. Us, a victory over us hypothetically isn't a bad look on their out of conference schedule. But also it's not like they can necessarily rely on playing some pushovers and relying on their own strength of schedule and their division and hoping that, they're going to drop some games probably. And so they're in that in-state interest. Their fans will travel, we'll travel. It'll create a lot of great buzz. I know plenty of Carolina people that didn't want to play the App Series. And I'm surprised that ever got scheduled, but it's undeniable that was anything but a positive all the way around for Chapel Hill and App State to play each other in football. That was just such a great thing from interest, from media, from exposure, from fan base and interaction. Just all that stuff was really great. So the more of that we see, I don't think we're going to have problems scheduling games. It just has to be the right ones, because there are definitely some programs out there that really shouldn't schedule us, and they don't want to. Let's put that way.
We got Vandy on a home. I think in 2 years we play the game, the first of the series, and that's a SEC team I feel very comfortable about having a series with. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they were 37.9 or 38-point dogs to Georgia this way. Like, why does Georgia have to schedule the Norfolk States and crap when they've got Vandy that they're a 40-point favor over?
Yeah.
You've already got
somebody's got to be homecoming.
Yeah, and like the Vandys of the world are not answering our phones, and we're probably not even making the call because we know it's not even worth it.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that game. By the
and
way,
that's not a slight for y'all or your program. That's just what it is. That's just reality.
Yep.
That was actually like a sicker burn than you wanted it to be. I think, man.
Backhanded little comment there. All right, a couple last questions. Is this a sellout game? Will it be a sellout game tomorrow night? I guess they're all sellout games technically.
So it's they released a graphic today saying that we were 500 tickets short of it being a true sellout, which I doubt will get sold.
That'll be our little section. That's our allotment.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, no, probably. No, it won't be a sellout in either true tickets sold and because they've comped a lot. Okay, I know that for a fact. They've comped a lot, and sometimes I think our athletics department. I would have no problem saying this on our show, by the way. I think we get just a little obsessed with just never acknowledging, like, hey, we're not Superman each and every week, and like, it's okay. Yeah, we didn't sell our tickets out. We've comped a lot. We want people to get there. And I know for a fact I've distributed a lot of tickets just to get people into the stadium because that's what we want. We want people to be able to enjoy the product out there. So, okay, yeah, it's not a sellout. And even if it technically was, if they come up with a graphic tomorrow that says, oh, we sold that 500, then that you won't see 30,000 people in the stands. It just won't.
Sure.
The dynamic, that first game that we played against the Stink in 2015 is our first midweek game Thursday night. It was electric. It's one of my most favorite app home games because it was different. It's like, man, this is Thursday. This is weird. We got there early and it was kind of weird. Man, that wore off quick. There's no upside to weekday games.
Weeknight,
there's none. I would trade a Saturday I'd trade a weekday for a Saturday every single time. And part of the reason why the expansion in the Sun Belt is so good is because we're spreading those weekday games around. So we're not necessarily we being any team would have to be the ones playing 2 or 3, God forbid. That's great because there's no upside.
How many play last year? We played 3, and we had Marshall at home. That was a TV deal. That was pre Sun Belt for them.
Coastal
and the Coastal was at home.
Yeah,
that was a
ECU.
Wednesday. ECU was a Thursday. I wasn't even counting that because that was Labor Day weekend.
Yeah,
and then Louisiana was during the middle of the week. So I mean, that's 4 of 12 right there.
I get a little fixated on scheduling. Like I like to pick them apart and everything. And
what?
One of the things
not you.
Never.
No. I really hate. I absolutely loathe Sunbelt's conference scheduling. Whatever like monkeys in a box over there spitting these little forms out is needs something. But there's no reason why a team should have multiple weekday home games. Like if you're going to have multiple weekday games, it needs to be an away game, or at least one of them needs to be. You should never do that to a fan base. That's ridiculous. And I would say the one exception to allowing a weekday home game is that first Labor Day weekend. If you get that Thursday or even that Friday night before all the big games hit on Saturday, I'm okay with that. Especially being in Atlanta, that's what we do next season. We open up with Rhode Island on a Thursday night before Labor Day weekend. And I'm fine with that. There's a lot that goes on in Atlanta that weekend. There's a whole lot that goes on in Atlanta that weekend. There's a lot of other games to watch. So I'm fine. I'm totally fine with that on that week.
Can you give me tickets to that Rhode Island game?
I can think maybe you can find one for you.
We'll see. I don't know.
It's going to be a banger.
You maybe a general admission concourse ticket or something like that, but I'll see what I can do.
Okay. Thanks, man.
All right. Unless Ryan or Tim have anything else, I got one last question before letting you guys go because we've gone, already almost 45 minutes here. The Sun Belt Media Day for basketball began today. I'm just kind of curious, just high level, what do you guys think about your basketball program going into the season?
To me, there's just so much uncertainty with this league now. I mean, we got 4 teams coming in. You can certainly hand it off to all those teams in the southern hemisphere of the Sun Belt. I'm talking about South Alabama and Louisiana, who can just transfer in anybody and everybody, and they're going to do their thing. But there's nothing that expects me to think that Bobby Marlin is going to be a conference champion this year by any stretch of the imagination. No. And I don't think that y'all are only the 5th best team in the conference, and I don't think we're only the 7th best. I think we both got slighted there. I don't know if I saw the whole poll. Was James Madison 3rd?
They're up there.
Yeah,
I think they're
they were even down on themselves. They're like, I don't know what we have, and I'm like, get out of here.
They're 4th. James Madison was 4th.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you
he's
this
up there,
now.
right? Yeah.
Neither one of those
actually,
teams.
I didn't realize this. I know we don't do East-West in basketball, but they would actually be first in the East because it's Lafayette, Texas State, and South Alabama as 1, 2, 3. So that's interesting. I didn't realize that.
I'm gonna tell you right now, neither of those 2 teams will finish where they're predicted to be, and only one will finish in the top 6, and they'll be lucky to do it. I'll go on record right now. Sunbelt
breaking
basketball
news.
is different. Sunbelt basketball is different. I mean, it is not like that in Conference USA. They're coming
wasn't
to
like that.
a stronger league. In my opinion, I just don't think you adjust as well to Sunbelt basketball. I'm not saying it's like this crazy league, but man, it's just weird, and the travel is just so much different. That's something I plotted out, and I threw that stuff away because I've already talked about it. Like who had to go where, and I think James Madison had like one of the worst like away like series of anybody. They had to go like long distances on the road, and I think that'll wear over the course of basically two long months.
But as far as our team, like if we're looking at a siloed our team, gosh, this is going to sound so cliche, especially with what Charles just said. There's a lot of unknowns and churning, and especially like our boy Richie at South Alabama. He has a new roster. It seems like every year with the way that they do transfers and bringing in guys. We're kind of in that spot right now. Adrian Delph, who is our most consistent, reliable scorer. And really, it was really awesome watching him grow as a player over the last 3-4 years. He opted to go play overseas, which is great. Happy for him. Lost a point guard. There's so much unknown. We have so many new pieces. One thing that I'm excited for is that we have size that hopefully can provide a little offense. We've struggled ever since Kearns got there, I guess, by transitive property for the last decade, since the guys before him were terrible too. Hired by your athletics director who ruined our athletics program. But having some size, he's a terrible AD. But anyway, so having some size that can score, we've had some guys that can play a little defense and box out and stuff, but getting some dudes down low that hopefully can provide some offense is going to be really interesting. The team seems to be getting along really well. I have a little insight into the basketball program. The chemistry seems to be there. They brought in guys that, and Coach Kearns, I'll just tell you, is super intentional about who he brings in on, like, hey, is this going to mess up the vibe in the locker room? So they're very careful about that. So very eager to see. I think we have more talent. They seem to get along really well, and I'm really excited to see the big guys playing, to see how they can add a different element to the team that we haven't seen the last few years.
Excellent. Well, let's talk later in the season. Once basketball season starts, let's talk when those games you talked about it on Thursday about doing that. Let's talk again. Be a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on, guys, tonight, talking App State with us. Looking forward. Hopefully, can run into you guys in the tailgates and everything tomorrow. And hopefully, we have a good game. Hopefully, we have a real good game. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, guys, this will be cut from the episode, but do we need to take a break before talking
Yes.
about the other Georgia State stuff?
Yes.
Then I will throw up my pee break banner.
Sweet. Pee break.
I thought Ryan was back as well, so it was like 40.
Do 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 do. No,
Gonna do it again.
we could.
Yeah. All right. That was good. That was fun. We'll wait for Ryan before we start talking about other stuff. So
Definitely think they overlooked Texas State. Come on, he quasi admitted they did.
effectively, yeah. I mean,
Let's just hope they overlook
Yeah.
us. They're 8-0. What do you have
That's-
to walk into? That's so complicated. You just sleepwalk through
That's
the
the
game.
thing.
You'd be fine.
let's see. All right, we're at 50 minutes and 20 seconds. Welcome back, everybody. This will be part 2 of the episode where we talk about stuff without the Appy State guys. That was a fun conversation. I enjoyed it. Hope you guys did too.
It was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. I
Good
thought
guys.
that last little jab from Charles, man, that was
Brutal.
like, well, y'all can play Vandy, but like they won't even take our call because we're so awesome.
Yeah, I
But
get
y'all
it. I
aren't.
mean, that's effectively what he was saying. Even or they were both saying ahead of time.
Nah, that was
ahead of
cold.
time.
That was cold.
Whatever. I get it. I mean, they're not wrong.
It
that,
hurt
that,
me.
that was
a little.
basically
I was like,
that
a
was
deep
basically the
cut.
question.
Maybe we should call Vandy for them and see what happens.
That's what so what I was thinking there was like, what do you mean you probably haven't even called? Like, so you don't know if they would take your phone call or not is what you're trying to tell me. Like what is this chest thumping here? Like
They might, you know.
it's a home and
don't know.
home
I
with
feel like-
Vandy. It's not like it's a pay game or nothing, right? I mean that's
Right. It's true. That's true.
that's impressive.
I'm looking forward to
That's
that one.
not nothing.
I'm looking forward to that one. Our first SEC opponent in the
Me
house.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. We need to get more on the schedule though. When we got UNC and Vandy scheduled, it was like within a week of each other when they scheduled those two home and home series, and I was like, all right, cool, let's get this more going on, and then
Yeah.
we really haven't seen it. I mean, then we had like the 4 series with UAB and some other stuff going, but no more P5s at least coming into
There
the
really
house,
haven't been
so.
a lot of announcements for out of conference in quite some time. I don't feel like, and I know we scheduled out for quite some for a while, but like, you know, usually there's like a trickle of it.
LSU
Yeah, I'm pretty
next
sure that
year.
will-
I'm excited about that.
LSU next year, but that was obviously scheduled, 5 years ago. I think
Right.
the last time we've had an announcement about something was the rescheduling of the Memphis game that got canceled during COVID. So
Yeah,
was that COVID
it
year?
happens so few and far between too that like I forgot we were playing LSU. Like I literally that was just news to me again.
I try to
You play
black
the
out
break
anything
news
that
if you want.
involves the state of Louisiana.
We got to
But
fill a
anyhow,
spot in 2025, so we got to get something coming in the next few years, right?
Kennesaw State,
Yes.
Kennesaw State, Conference USA, Kennesaw State.
Wow, come on.
Neutral site.
You're hard on for Truist.
I think if we're going to play Kennesaw State, I think it'd be cool if we played it in Truist Park. I like that idea.
You're
I
not wrong.
think it'd be cool.
It's the first opportunity too. So
we all
maybe
get
we make it
tickets. It'll be
happen.
fun.
I mean, make it a 3-game series. One at their 2,500 seat soccer field, and one
80
at Center
it's
Park.
like 8,000.
Yeah, if like they're
You don't
if you have
have,
your
you
kid
don't
on your
have
shoulders.
to lowball it. It's low. You can just make fun of them by like saying the real number.
No, I meant the number of people that actually go to the game. That's what I meant. So
Shit. Is it even that? Oh,
Yeah.
we're not on last call though, right? I shouldn't cuss.
No, you shouldn't.
Shit,
Not
I
yet.
I think shit's allowed on TV, so you can say it on here, right?
Yeah. Yes. Uh-huh.
No, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm not excited about playing Kennesaw State. We don't have them on the schedule, but if we were to play them, I think having a game at Truist Park would be a lot of fun. They've played there before. They played
Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State, like the last game of the regular season or something, there a few years ago, and so I think it'd be kind of a cool little draw. I'd enjoy it. So,
I agree.
but anywho,
We got the battery.
Got the battery. So Sunbelt games last week. It was a lot of commotion going on in the Sunbelt last week. You got
It's active.
Coastal going down by ODU. Now ODU is first place in the East.
Thank you, Lions.
And then
Appreciate.
Monarchs?
Monarchs.
Mark
yeah, but they're
Lions.
so like they're Monarchs, but their mascot's a lion.
Yeah.
I guess it's lions are kings.
King of the jungle.
Monarchs are. Yeah,
Of the
whatever.
savannah? Savannah.
and that was
Didn't really understand.
that
TDS?
was Coastal's home. That was Coastal's homecoming game. ODU was Coastal's homecoming game, which ODU is our homecoming game. That's the one thing I was taking away from this whole deal. Is like, oh, don't schedule ODU as your
Oops.
homecoming this year. This was the one team that we thought was going to be preseason picked to be last in the East. Like we thought like JMU even in transition was going to be better than Old Dominion, and they Old Dominion is now first place in the East. So
Yeah,
that'll
like
be a
doing
fun
stuff.
game. That's our next game after Appy State is we have like obviously Saturday off, and then they come in.
Yeah, I mean, Coastal
Marshall-
did not look good in that game, and
No.
ODU's running game was like on point. They were able to do whatever they wanted on the ground. So, I mean, you know, it just depends on what team shows up for us. I,
think
mean,
we'll-
as always, right?
ODU's hosting Trash Down South this Saturday, and they're only a 2-point favorite in the game, meaning neutral site. Vegas would actually pick the Trash.
I mean, well, Trash Down South sucks. So,
Yeah, they did. They're pretty horrible.
that.
Marshall, this is a fun stat. Marshall, who beat Notre Dame, has not beaten another FBS team this season.
yeah.
They've turned into hot garbage for some reason. I don't know why. I
It's
think
like
they have some
true-
injuries.
They're like the epitome of Sunbelt dumb, right? It's like the
This
beat
was a
the world,
team-
beat the person you're not supposed to beat, and then lose all of them.
Well, if you look at all preseason polls or standings, whatever, it was always Marshall, Appy, and Coastal. Those three teams are going to be competing for the East. Marshall, again, has not beaten an FBS team outside of the legendary Notre Dame.
Right.
Appy now has 2 conference losses. Coastal just got manhandled by a team that just joined the conference. So, and then you got us.
Yeah.
Got us.
Who knows, right?
Then the Trash beat JMU, but whatever. You guys actually had. I was not going to watch that game. You guys in our chat started talking me up. I had to watch this game, and I admit that if you take away the logos and the players' names, well, I guess Trash already has the players' names gone. It's a good game. It was a good game, but I did not like the final outcome. You guys actually had me rooting for JMU. Jerks.
Well, you had to root for someone, right?
I mean, that was one of those things
I don't
that
like
like
this-
we talked a lot
Go
of
ahead.
shit beforehand, and I even said, no, we don't say Georgia Southern, or Trash Down South should win. We can't even say JMU should lose. Like, that's not fair. But like, when you actually go and you watch the game, you're like, God, I just want JMU to win. I just need that to happen. I just want it. And like like all of a sudden you realize what your feelings are telling you, and it's that JMU should have won that dang game.
Yeah. Yes. And
Yes.
this is the one year that we can all not. JMU can go undefeated this season, and it doesn't matter to us because they can't go anywhere after
Right.
that. They play their 11th game. They don't even have 12. When they play their 11th game, they're done for the season. So they can win them all. They should have won them all. Just to give us a better edge against other teams in conference. So that's it. Really, none of the games really were that big of a deal. Games this
No.
week, but this. So when we win tomorrow or
Mhm.
tonight, if you're listening to the podcast in the morning, when we win,
How drunk will you be?
we'll be annihilated. We'll be absolutely annihilated. I'm gonna go find AJ and Charles's like houses and like just like go like pee on their walls or toilet paper their trees or whatever the hell they have. Love you guys, but I'm drunk and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. But no, when we win
I'm not
tomorrow night,
I'm not in control.
exactly. I have given up control to the alcohol in my body.
I didn't do it. The alcohol did it.
The football
Jim
gods
Beam
have
did it. Blame him.
taken. Yeah, the football gods have taken over, and there's no more football tonight.
I was going to ask them where the bourbon concession stand was in the stadium.
Is
Got to
there
keep
that?
warm,
Is there
right?
a bourbon concession
No,
stand?
probably not.
Oh, damn it.
But it's app. Don't you think they should have that like, in their stadium?
No, I think like UK should or Louisville should.
All right.
Yeah.
Moonshine
I mean, they can have
stand? Ugh, I don't want to go there.
I'm not a fan of moonshine. But no, when we win, it's time to start paying attention to the West because, if we beat Appy and we still get some help with someone else beating Coastal, you know, we have a shot at the East Division champ, or at least playing for the championship. And now we want to start watching South Alabama lose and Monroe and Southern Miss win to get that championship game at home at Center Park. Because wouldn't that be something? But let's win tomorrow night. Let's win tomorrow night.
It'd be good. I just don't like counting on other people. Like I know we're there now. It just gets me down. Like it should be up on us, and it was on us, and we screwed that up, which sucks.
Yep, we sure did.
We did.
We sure did.
We set that up for awesomeness. We did.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, let's talk about basketball, because this will be part 2 of the week's episode, and people will have already known the outcome of the game likely when they listen to this. So the preseason poll came out, coaches poll, and Georgia State comes in 5th place.
That's weird.
Behind
That's weird to me.
Lafayette. What do you think, Tim?
I mean, we lose like 90% of our offense, right? And if you look at Ken Palm, did you see the Ken Palm rating? We're like 11 or 14.
We're garbage.
We're below the trash. Below the trash.
From what I understand on Ken Palm is that ranks highly on returning production, and we don't really have much of any returning production. So it's a metric that skews poorly for teams that are bringing in transfers and, you know, guys getting older and everything. So yeah, I don't know. There was somebody. We got a first place vote. Somebody voted as first place. Was it Coach Hayes? Was it somebody else? Yeah.
Who knows?
We asked the question about the preseason for football, and we assumed that Coach Elliott did it. Then he at least claimed it was not him.
I believe him. I think you don't make that claim. But I also it's like kind of traditional not to vote for yourself, right?
Yeah, you would think.
Like lots of teams don't vote for themselves for number 1.
I'm sure Bob Marlin votes for himself.
That's true. He gets his wife to vote, so he can be like, "I didn't do it."
When Bob Marlin submits his ballot, I bet he doesn't even put, you know, Louisiana on it. I bet he puts Bob Marlin. Me, I'm the best,
and that's it. He doesn't actually rank anyone else. He just puts Bob Marlin as number 1 and just calls it a day.
Yeah, Bob Marlin, the field. There we go.
Done.
Bob Marlin, the field.
What a tool.
Yeah, he's a tool. I mean, he
So,
sucks too. Still,
I think
sucks.
we're a top 3 team in the Sun Belt. We'll end up there no matter what happens throughout the season. We go start 0-6 like we did last year. I think our team will figure it out. We have the talent coming in. I think it'll gel, and we'll end up being in the tournament in the top 3 or 4 seed.
Well, I don't know. Is there rust on a
lots
new
of
team?
rust?
You know, is there rust? I don't know. I don't think there is. Maybe
actually, we're in a shiny new convocation center. There cannot be any rust whatsoever.
It is very shiny.
Yeah, I want to talk about the convocation center. So I was unable to go to the seating thing, but both of you guys went, and all cool, all fun. And then it comes seat selection time, and I'm just getting my phone's blowing up when I'm down in Florida about how horrible, or at least how unstructured, how difficult it was.
It was very structured.
It was super structured.
Just structured wrong.
Overly structured.
Well, no. So they did a good thing, right? They had all the pack priority points, and you had like a number on your sticker that was like your pack priority. So they were like, it was like the DMV. They were calling numbers. It was like A whatever with a number and B whatever with a number.
You're trying to actually give compliments while relating something to the DMV.
I know. It was fine. The problem was we don't really understand how the priority points were picked, and then people who weren't there got to pick their seats before everybody, and we're like, none of these people have more priority points than the people that are here, right? I mean, like,
yeah, they should have never done that.
So a bunch of the aisle seats on the half court were already picked when we got there. They were already gone,
and so I couldn't have been there. And while I don't think I'm the highest priority, I know for a fact I'm not the highest priority point.
But remote
by a stretch. I should have gone. I mean, I did put it in my thing where I said Tim was picking for me. I said what area I wanted to be in. They should have left the entire area open until Tim got to pick for me.
They should have put blocks around it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're going to do a seating event like that, obviously your top priority point people get whatever the hell they want, whether they're there or not. But then don't let somebody
let them rank or something, you know?
Well, don't let someone don't let someone who's not going to the event get to pick ahead of somebody who's at the event who has higher points than them. Like,
they should have had proxies basically in athletics, people that were picking for those people when it was their turn in the order.
They should have submitted like a ranking of the seats that they wanted, and then when they were available, they should have just gone ahead and checked them off and done it. Like, it wouldn't have been terribly difficult, but like the way that the system worked is that people with lower priority pack priority points got to have better seats than the people who even showed up to the event, which is insanity.
Whether they ever go to a game or not, which we saw the problem in the sports arena where you had season ticket holders that did not come to games. Now they'll have those seats forever, whether they get sat or not. And other people that waited until they went to the event because that was the event will be sitting somewhere else on a wait list for the next 20, 30 years waiting to get into where they wanted to be originally and they showed up for. It's bogus. When the Falcons did their move to Mercedes-Benz, they gave everybody, they said this is the equivalent to what your seat is now. Do you want to keep it or do you want to move somewhere else? If you wanted to keep it, you kept it. That's it. And if you wanted to move, then they would have you come in and do figure out where you wanted to be. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't at Mercedes. It was before this thing had been finished, but they had, mock-ups and all that kind of stuff, like, the Zoolander model of the whole
virtual
thing.
reality. Sure, got it.
Yeah,
no?
But it sounds like it's crap. I'm pretty bummed. I mean, I'm incredibly bummed that I did not get to be center court aisle in the club section after.
It's okay. The seats are good. I mean, I sent you a picture from my seat, which is directly behind yours. So
yeah, now I got Ryan breathing behind my back the entire game.
Yeah, I wanted to creep on you. That was the whole purpose, was to creep on you.
Bring all the breath mints, David. All right.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Bring all the breath
handing breath mints behind me.
I figure most games, if you don't bring somebody, I'll just end up sitting next to you anyway. Or even if you do, because like those seats won't get used, I'll just end up wherever. We'll all just sort of end up wherever we end up. But I was like, if this place is packed to the brim, I want an aisle seat, no matter what. Even if I have to sit behind you and hang out like that, then I want the aisle seat.
That was my thing. Aisle seat was
the choice I made.
Aisle seat was the most important. I wanted courtside aisle, not courtside, but center court. I wanted center court aisle, but aisle was more important. Some on the other side of the, you and I are on the other side of the club from that. But yeah,
it's good though, and we're on the home side, so like the bench, it'll be on the other side of us.
Tim.
Yeah, so at the end of the event, there was still a ton of seats open in the club. Like the row we're on, which I think Ron, you're at the other end of it, there's still a sea of seats with no one selecting anything. So we're gonna sit where the hell we want.
There we go, Tim.
You already said it. Don't correct yourself. Just plow forward.
Anyway, we'll sit where the hell we want.
So, great. Now, speaking of hell, great segue. Why the hell are we playing our first game on Halloween night?
I don't know. You were drunk and said you were going to go on the podcast. And I was like, really? You have kids? I find this entertaining.
Oh, no, there's no way I can go. I mean, technically their bedtime is before then, but they're going to stay up late that night. So, I mean, I would assume. It's an exhibition. So my thought was, did they want to do like a dry run, like the driest of dry runs? So it's an exhibition game, so it doesn't really count. It's on Halloween. It's like, we're going to get the first game going on here, and we'll have the smallest amount of attendance we could just to make sure concessions works and ticketing works and people find their seats and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be empty. We're going to open our convocation center to an empty crowd.
What time is it, though? Because, I mean, if it's after dark, then I can go.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Yeah.
I could probably go to that. I mean, trick-or-treating ends like really stupid early.
If it ends early, I'll try to go. Maybe make it second half or something. But I mean, I started drinking at home at like 4 o'clock, so I maybe do shit-faced to get there.
It's not even far.
Oh yeah, they still have those things, don't they? It's just weird. It's a very like you didn't have to play that day. Your next game is not until November 7th. Why'd you have to play October 31st?
I thought they were going to schedule it like noon or 1.
That's what I was hoping for. That's what I encourage
pre-drinking, go to the game, and then Take your kids trick or treating. Done.
If they would have had a noon game on a Monday on Halloween Monday, I'd totally go to that game. Take a excessively long lunch, starting at 10 a.m. for pre-gaming.
We sort of shat upon the event, but the event was a lot of fun. We didn't really get into that. The event was really well done. Other than the seat selection,
Free booze.
Yeah, they had free booze. That's all I'm saying. And then they had the Braves on the big screens.
That shocked me. Well, let's not talk about the Braves, but that shocked me. They actually had.
I mean, we won that game, didn't we?
Booze there. No. No. Yes, we did win.
Yeah, I think we won that game.
I think we won that game. Yeah. So really, they should have just played all the games on those TVs and just invited all the Georgia State season ticket holders to there to watch it, and had free beer.
That actually makes me think. That makes me think about the game on. What is it? JMU game? Oh no, yeah. When we did that multi-team event, they have we played Texas A&M at 3:00. So if the JMU game is a night game, let everyone just stick around inside of the Convocation Center and sell some more booze and watch the JMU game on the big screens there. But then otherwise it's going to overlap. They could have the JMU game, could be played at noon in whatever Virginia town they're in, and you have an option of watching JMU Georgia State football at home or at a bar, or going to the Texas A&M Commerce basketball game.
You just got to send an email, man. Give them the idea.
Oh,
because you're right. That would be really cool to sit in our seats and watch that football game on those screens. Seriously, those screens are really rad. They're good, and we have have better seats for those screens than the center court people.
True.
Yeah, screw those center court people. No one even likes it.
That's right.
Oh hell, just set up seats on the some folding chairs out there on the court. Let people watch it from the court. Why
They could. Our seats would still be pretty tight. I wouldn't be worried about it. I would like to watch a game there. That would be really cool if they sold beer and we just hung out and watched the game there. That'd be awesome.
My fat butt plus cushy seat is very, very comfy.
That's right.
Yeah, I like it. Make it happen. Use your powers. I haven't said that in a long time.
I'm riding very comfy.
David's
very comfy.
David's the shadow president of the PAC.
The PAC has no authority on anything.
Yeah,
I could be the president and still have no authority.
Panther Talk thinks so. I don't know. Panther Talk was challenging you to do things.
What happened?
Specifically,
really just you.
What happened?
They were asking. Well, Ben and Panther Girl were asking, but effectively asking questions they know the answer to, which is what is the PAC? What is
what is the point of the
mission
PAC?
state? Yeah, but they were wanting the PAC board to raise money to pay for the $2 million video center court scoreboard at the top, and I'm like, that's not the purpose of the PAC. The PAC is not to do fundraising for specific items. It's to grow the PAC, to get more people to join the PAC and get more people that are in the PAC
give the
to
PAC
increase
money.
Their donation level. Yeah, it's not about buying stuff.
Things.
Yeah, that's not the purpose of the PAC.
Speaking of which, David, big win. Did you notch a win? You're responsible for me increasing my PAC donation to the next level.
Yes.
Actually, Alexis took that win at the event.
What?
It's David's win.
Yeah. No, I'm on record.
To be fair, I went up to Alexis and I was like, no one asked me. And she was like, I asked you to buy this ticket. And I was like, you did. You're right.
What? I got to
she had asked me
last week.
A long time ago to buy the ticket. She had asked me, and I told her
I wined and dined you. I wined and dined you at the PAC suite during the Trash Down South game.
I told Alexis no. She accepted it, and then David was like, "Yeah, but do you want it? I think you really want it." And he got a little lower. He's like, "Do you want it?" And that worked for me. I was like, yeah.
Well, so then,
shit,
so
yeah. I
after
want to be
missing
behind
the-
you every game.
Whoa. We're not last call yet, man.
He
All right.
actually said,
So-
"Wait, where are you putting David? I want to be right behind him to whisper sweet nothings into his ears."
This got
Please
last
whisper
call
nothing.
territory. This got like no
This
call
is-
territory.
This is beyond last call. This is like post game party talk. Anyhow, so after missing the exhibition game because I'll be Halloweening with my kids, I have to miss the first game, the Coastal Georgia game. I got to miss that because I got my bocce championships and we're undefeated, and I got to be there for that. So my first game will be Georgia Tech.
All
At least you can come to that, right?
Yeah, so that's gonna be a hell of a day too. So we got Monroe. So Tim, when we talked to Charlie at the tip-off event, and he said that we assumed that both Coach Elliott and Coach Hayes would want that late night time slot for that game, and they were both arguing for the noon time slot, and so I guess Coach Elliott got his way. So we'll have the football game. Am I getting that right?
2 o'clock, 3
Oh,
o'clock.
no, sorry.
2 o'clock.
Coach Elliott wanted the noon. They both wanted the noon slot. So Coach Elliott gets the noon slot, and then we'll watch the game for 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours, and then around for 3 hours for the basketball game.
Are we
We're
sure
gonna be?
that that's the setup?
That's what it says. Yeah.
I'm going to be either asleep or belligerently drunk during that game.
Oh
One of the
yeah.
two.
Oh yeah.
Well, at least you can lay it on your seats, and they're
Ryan,
cushioned.
you could make a lot of money doing a little bed and breakfast at your house that week. Like everybody is like, pick a couch. We'll put some pallets of blankets on the floor. People can just pass out for a couple hours, and then we'll all do it all over again, and go into the convocation center.
Yeah. I'm in.
I mean, seriously though, and that's our chili cook-off day. So we'll get to the
It's a
tailgate at like
long
8 in the
day.
morning, and then so if the game's at noon, that means chili cook-off has to happen at like no later than 10 o'clock. We do that. We go to the game. We're consistently there because that's what we do. And you're playing Monroe. Gross. Game's over by 3:30, 4 o'clock, and you still have 3 hours until tip-off. They better let us
Can we
stay.
go-
They don't take the tents down. Let us keep on tailgating in Victory Plaza.
Just let us
on
go
the
right
bricks.
back out to our tailgate.
Yep.
That'd be rad.
We
right?
need people to leave their chili and just have the athletic staff stir it for us all throughout the game.
Yeah, they'll eat it. They'll eat our chili.
Yeah, that'll be gone.
So David,
yeah,
yeah,
sure.
David, you get a chili cook-off again. That's great.
He does.
Yeah. So I got uninvited from a wedding that I was going to miss everything for. So that's awesome. And it's not for a scandalous reason at all. They just had to downsize the event because
They
of the
just
hurricane.
don't like you that much. It's cool.
To be fair, they don't like my wife. That's the family.
Hey,
It's her family, not me. Oh,
No,
they
what you
like
don't know,
her.
she's still going.
No. Wait. Is she taking the kids with her?
I'm
If she's taking the kids with her, that's fine.
yeah. Of course, the kids are invited. Just
Yeah.
not you.
Darn.
They know you'd be like,
right.
you'd be like, can we get the game on the TV? Like during
No,
the
I'd have to
ceremony.
do
During
it.
the
It's
ceremony.
actually it's a family member that I like a lot. So yeah. Anyhow, all right, we'll wrap this up. One other thing I want to shout out: women's golf won the Little Rock Classic. I feel like whenever I follow the golf teams, I'm always looking at us being in like 10th or 11th place out of 12 or 14 teams. But the women's golf won the Little Rock Classic against a bunch of smaller programs, but there were some conference mates in there. Monroe was second place. I think Texas State or somebody, Wichita State was in there. So some other programs in there. Kudos to the ladies, women's golf, winning that. It was
Congrats, women's
+5.
golf.
That means above par. It's above par, right? +5.
I think 0 is par,
Or you
isn't
supposed
it?
to be-
Yeah.
right. So +5 is above par,
Above par. Yeah.
and you want to be, yeah. All right. Anyways,
Par.
all right. Are we doing last call, guys? We've done an hour and 20 minutes already. Are we doing last call? Are we gonna?
I
we-
could do
we
either. I
can-
have like a beer and a half left that I want in my
I
body.
gotta get ready. I gotta get ready for tomorrow. Heading up to Appy.
All right, so we just won't do it. It's okay. I think we did a lot of bonus content here, and I don't think our Patreon members would be very upset that we didn't like cuss a bunch about things.
Yeah,
It's all good.
I'm down.
I don't have any
down
new
with no
smoked
last call.
meat news. I mean, She-Hulk
I did see
a
your-
thing. That's fine.
I did see your ears perk up when Charles mentioned smoked meats, and I was like, yeah, but I was like, yeah, he's talking like 4 hours to do.
Yeah, I was questioning his
short
What
timeline.
the hell are you doing 4 hours?
Yeah, I was questioning his
Yeah.
timeline for sure.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We are going to skip last call this week because we did an hour and 20 minutes of interview and Georgia State talk. We will talk to you guys next week after what we hope is a big Georgia State win, first win ever against Appy. Please consider joining our Patreon. It's $3 a month. We have 2 spots left at $3 a month, and it goes up to $5 a month. Get access to our private group chat, discounts on our merchandise, and we'll actually acknowledge you when we see you at games and stuff like that if you join. So please consider joining. Thanks everybody for listening. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Peace.